Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of TC Talk. My name is Therese, and thanks for stopping by. So, I have an interesting episode for you guys today, and I'm going to be reacting to this article which I came across recently. It's from the MSC, and of all people, it's around Daniel Day Kim. And as you can see in the title, I'll just read it off and let's just get right into it. Daniel Day Kim says success of Crazy Rich Asians has inadvertently hampered Asian-led films. I'm going to assume that when he says that, he means Hollywood. I did recently see the blockbuster, which I was wondering of too, so no wishes there, but we know what he means. Let's continue. If you had a project that spoke to something other than people being super rich and super wealthy and super happy, then they weren't interested. That said that Sundance. So yes, right now the buzz is all about Oscars, and I think they did recently have the Sundance Festival. I am actually really intrigued, if not only because I haven't actually heard much, news regarding Crazy Rich Asians. Point blank, to be honest. So, thanks to Daniel, that movie has, been brought back. So let's continue. The blockbuster hit Crazy Rich Asians has raised unrealistic expectations for other Asian-led projects. So he was at a panel discussion, okay? One of the collateral damage effects of Crazy Rich Asians was that everyone wanted to do more Asian projects as long as they were just Crazy Rich Asians, he said at the Variety-sponsored panel. If you had a project that spoke to something other than people being super rich and super wealthy and super happy, then they weren't interested. Not only did we have difficulty trying to find other portrayals of Asian Americans, but it also had the additional burden of having to represent all Asians. Representation, my dear friends, isn't that an interesting topic and one that's spoken about quite often. I do have my own opinions on that, especially when it comes to myself, but I might hold on that until a whole nother live stream, perhaps an episode. But it is interesting that he puts this. I guess for me, I have to say, from what I've come across in terms of what has been coming out in mainstream Hollywood and those that do have, an Asian, whatever Asian means these days. But we know, for the sake of argument, we know what it means. Let's just assume we know what it means, what it has meant for the last few years in the census. We know what it means. Let's just continue. But yeah, I have to honestly say I disagree. I mean, that has not been what I've been coming across in terms of, the movies that have been coming out recently. I wonder if this is, I wonder if he's seen Everything Everywhere All at Once. But that is not the point, I suppose. The point is that he's actually got an interesting opinion. So let's continue. Inclusive storytelling shouldn't just be a category or a checkbox and say, we have an Asian project, we have a black project, and so we're good with being diverse. I agree with this. I actually do agree with this on this one, Daniel. There's more to, making stuff and, ticking off boxes and having checklists and filling a quota. We could actually talk a whole lot more about how that's done, but, I will refrain for this instance. So then talks about what, Crazy Rich Asians was actually about. I am curious to see, what constants we will be doing. She is currently on the Velma project. I could, certainly give my thoughts on that if you guys were interested. But that's not the point of this episode. So many praised the film's story upon its fresh release for its fresh perspective, which was different from other Asian-led projects at the time. Interesting enough. Okay. Every big Asian American film has been immigrant first-generation story, sociologist Nancy Wang-Yun previously told NBC News. We get annoyed with being complained as being from Asia, but all the representation has been still has the Asian foreigner label. It's a legitimate story, but there's a glut of those. I suppose what she's saying, there's more than one story, and there's more to the Asian American experience in that being first-generation migrants and all that stuff. I can see where you're going, and I do agree with this. So, neither director John Chu nor Warner Brothers, which released the film, responded to requests for comments about the remarks. I don't think anyone else has actually really responded to this either. I'll list them from what I've heard. Let me know what you guys, if you guys have found something different, let me know. Feel free to comment. Okay. After the movie's success, the idea that films centering on Asian Americans wouldn't be profitable no longer applied. The film became a reference for writers to use during pitches in hopes their projects would be picked up by major production companies. I am definitely, from my own filmmaking perspective, have seen this. I mean, I guess if anything, with its, I think was a blockbuster success, and it was used as an example of saying, you know what, why not an Asian-led cast? Despite my thoughts on the movie itself, to cut a long story short, it's Cinderella but with Asians. Not everything has to be deep, but we know, I mean, it's a Cinderella story. Enjoy it for what it is, I suppose. That is my thoughts. So, for us, one hurdle, maybe even the tallest hurdle, is getting networks to believe that the audience will show up for these stories. I think that's where Crazy Rich Asians has moved the bar. Producer Lisa Takeuchi Cullen previously said, "In Hollywood, numbers speak." I suppose numbers and money does speak. And when a movie with all Asian leads bring up 35 million the first week, executives sit up and take notice. I suppose that is true. Is that the end of the article? I suppose that is true. That it is. It is the end of the article. So it's interesting when the commentary by Daniel Day came out. I'm actually not quite sure what he's been up to these days. The only thing I remember him was from Lost. And it's been a while. It's been a while since I actually saw an episode of that. So interesting commentary. I suppose that he's still doing stuff, I suppose. And he did turn up at the panel for the Sundance Film Festival. Interesting thoughts. And I'm curious what he does think about, everything everywhere all at once, because that is a thing that I've been seeing more so, that's been taking attention, because it has been at least, I think from my memory it's gotten 11 nominations for the Oscars, the Academy Awards, so that is something very newsworthy. I'm surprised he didn't make a comment on that. Maybe he has. So yeah, I guess as far as Viramaya is concerned, my favorite movie is actually Always Be My Maybe. And I think it was just because, it was just a lot of fun. And there are characters being characters. And there was no buzz on it not actually focusing on it being Asian American. It was just about, people that happen to be Asian American. So I can always appreciate that. Even though, as you can probably tell, I am an Asian Australian, but same thing. You know what I'm talking about. We can have that's I suppose is a different discussion entirely. But that was that article. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are on Crazy Rich Asians. Are you looking forward to, the sequel? I think Gemma Chan is still in the spin-off. Although I haven't really heard much, updates on that since. Let me know what you think. What do you think of this article? Let me know what you think about, his comments. What do you think about representation? That is a whole nother topic I'm going to keep deep diving into because it's something I'm actually curious about. But until then, I'll see you next time.